Few regions in the world have shaped global politics as dramatically as the Middle East. From ancient empires to modern-day power struggles, the conflicts here have profound consequences. Henry Kissinger, an architect of modern diplomacy, once said, "The Middle East is an arena of unmatched complexity. Let's delve into its turbulent history and unravel the intricacies of the region." The seeds of conflict, historical fault lines. The Middle East's turmoil stems from colonial legacies, artificial borders, and unresolved historical grievances. These fault lines, carved by colonial powers, ignored cultural and tribal ties, sowing the seeds of discord. For centuries, the region was a nexus of diverse civilizations, from the ancient Egyptians to the Ottoman Empire. However, the imposition of new borders during the early 20th century disregarded ethnic, religious, and cultural divisions. The quest for oil, fueling geopolitical competition. One of the primary drivers of conflict in the Middle East is its vast oil reserves. The discovery of oil transformed the region into a strategic prize for global powers. Nations like the United States, the Soviet Union, and later China have sought to exert influence over the region's oil-rich nations, often by supporting autocratic regimes or fomenting unrest. For Kissinger, control over the Middle East's energy resources was paramount in maintaining global balance. The oil embargo of the 1970s, for instance, dramatically altered global economics and cemented the Middle East's central role in world affairs. Ethnic and sectarian strife. Ethnic and sectarian differences in the Middle East have long been sources of tension. The region is home to Arabs, Kurds, Persians, Turks, and various religious sects, including Sunni and Shia Muslims, Christians, and Jews. These groups have often found themselves at odds over political and territorial disputes. Kissinger viewed the sectarian divisions as a critical factor in shaping Middle Eastern geopolitics. He argued that without understanding the region's deep-rooted religious and ethnic tensions, it was impossible to craft lasting solutions. The rise of groups like ISIS and Al-Qaeda only exacerbated these divides, with ideologies that manipulated sectarianism for political gain. The rise of armed groups and secret organizations. The Middle East has seen the emergence of numerous armed groups and secret organizations, often driven by ideological or political motives. From Hezbollah in Lebanon to Hamas in Gaza, these organizations have become key players in the region's conflicts. Kissinger was particularly concerned with how these groups, often backed by regional powers like Iran, could destabilize entire countries. The proliferation of non-state actors posed a challenge to traditional diplomacy, as these groups often operated outside the established state structures, further complicating peace efforts. Exploring the heart of Middle Eastern nations. Egypt, a regional power with diverging interests. Egypt, historically one of the Middle East's most influential countries, plays a crucial role in shaping the region's balance of power. Under President Anwar Sadat, Egypt shifted away from Soviet alignment and toward the United States, making peace with Israel in the Camp David Accords. Today, Egypt seeks to maintain its status as a regional power, balancing relations with both Western allies and neighboring Arab nations. However, its strategic interests also include managing the Nile River's resources, countering Islamist extremism, and maintaining its influence in the Arab League. Kissinger often viewed Egypt as a pivotal player, whose alliances and policies could significantly alter the regional order. Lebanon, a fragile state at the crossroads of power. Lebanon's unique sectarian composition has made it a battleground for regional and international powers. The Lebanese Civil War, 1975 to 1990, set the stage for ongoing instability, with Hezbollah, a Shia militant group backed by Iran, becoming a powerful force in the country. Lebanon's strategic location, bordering Israel and Syria, makes it an important player in regional geopolitics. Kissinger recognized Lebanon as a microcosm of the Middle East's broader issues. Interventions by foreign powers, sectarian violence, and the influence of external ideologies, all of which make it a key site for diplomatic engagement and conflict resolution. Turkey. Straddling east and west, Turkey's position as a bridge between Europe and Asia has made it a critical actor in the Middle East. Historically, Turkey has sought to modernize and integrate with Western institutions like NATO, but its recent turn towards a more assertive foreign policy under President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has raised questions about its future direction. Turkey's involvement in Syria, its relationship with the Kurds, and its stance on issues like the Syrian refugee crisis have placed it at the center of Middle Eastern conflicts. Kissinger often noted Turkey's importance in balancing Western interests with regional dynamics, understanding that its geopolitical position gave it leverage in both Western and Middle Eastern diplomacy. Iran. The Islamic Republic's regional ambitions. Iran's role in the Middle East stems from its historical ambition to lead the Islamic world, fueled by its revolutionary ideology and its quest for regional dominance. Its nuclear aspirations and alliances with proxies like Hezbollah are tools to counterbalance Gulf Arab states and Western influence. Under the leadership of Ayatollah Khomeini and his successors, Iran has sought to export its revolution and challenge the influence of the United States and its allies in the region. Kissinger viewed Iran's actions with suspicion, as Tehran's destabilizing activities in Iraq, Syria, and Yemen undermined regional stability and threatened to shift the balance of power in favor of the Shia axis. The Arabian Gulf. A region of competing interests. The Arabian Gulf is a geopolitical flashpoint due to its vast oil reserves and strategic importance. Saudi Arabia, the UAE, and other Gulf states have long been key allies of the West, particularly the United States, in their efforts to counter Iranian influence and maintain the stability of global energy markets. However, these nations also face internal challenges, from rising Islamist extremism to the threat of Iranian-backed militias. The rivalry between Sunni-majority Gulf states and Shia-majority Iran has created a sectarian divide that spills over into conflicts in Syria, Yemen, and beyond. Kissinger viewed the Gulf as a critical area where the West must carefully navigate competing interests to avoid a full-scale regional conflict. Israel. The strategic ally at the center of the conflict. Israel's creation in 1948 and its subsequent wars with neighboring Arab states have made it a central focus of Middle Eastern geopolitics. Kissinger, during his tenure as Secretary of State, played a significant role in shaping U.S. policy towards Israel, recognizing its strategic importance in countering Soviet influence in the region. Israel's security concerns, particularly its conflicts with Palestinians and Arab nations, have led to a complex relationship with neighboring states. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict remains one of the most intractable issues in international diplomacy, with various peace efforts over the decades yielding limited success. For Kissinger, Israel was both a vital ally and a focal point for broader Middle Eastern stability. Syria, a country torn apart by war and ideology. Syria, once a regional power, has become synonymous with destruction and chaos following its civil war that began in 2011. The Assad regime, backed by Russia and Iran, has fought against various rebel groups, including those backed by the United States and Gulf states. The conflict has drawn in multiple international actors, transforming Syria into a proxy battlefield. Kissinger's view of Syria was shaped by the strategic importance of its alliances and its proximity to both Israel and Iraq. The stability of Syria, for Kissinger, was crucial in maintaining the balance of power in the region. But the rise of extremist groups and foreign interventions has made it a difficult situation to resolve. Iraq, a battlefield of global and regional interests. Iraq, with its ancient heritage and vast oil reserves, has long been a focal point of regional and international politics. The fall of Saddam Hussein in 2003 ushered in a new era of instability, marked by sectarian violence, foreign interventions, and the rise of extremist groups like ISIS. Iraq has become a chessboard for competing interests, ranging from Iran's influence through Shia militias to the United States' attempts to secure stability and counter-terrorism efforts. For Henry Kissinger, Iraq exemplified the perils of overreach in foreign policy, warning that external meddling could exacerbate internal divisions and ignite broader regional conflicts. Palestine, the heart of the Middle East conflict. The question of Palestine remains at the core of Middle Eastern unrest. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict, rooted in decades of displacement, territorial disputes, and failed peace efforts, has shaped the region's geopolitical landscape. The plight of Palestinian refugees and the contentious status of Jerusalem fuel tensions that ripple across the Arab world. Kissinger believed that resolving this conflict required balancing Israel's security concerns with Palestinian aspirations for statehood, a task complicated by deep-seated mistrust and shifting alliances. The unresolved issue of Palestine continues to serve as a rallying point for both regional solidarity and discord. In conclusion, the Middle East's complex web of history, religion, and politics continues to shape global diplomacy. Its conflicts remain inextricably linked to the interests of powerful global players, with no easy solutions in sight. The Destiny once said, "Your subscription keeps the wisdom alive."